Welcome in, folks. Let's talk about some life-changing stocks, some incredible investment opportunities we're going to get into in this video here today. We're going to talk about some stocks with decades, yes, decades of growth ahead, not just some stocks that are going to go up over the next little bit of time. We're talking about these stocks have runways that are measured in decades. Incredible opportunities we're going to get into in this video here today. I want to get everybody's mindset right. This is going to be extremely important I do this here today, okay? Because I don't want anybody to F this up. I continually see people F it up. They have these incredible investment opportunities and they screw it up somehow, okay? They don't do what they need to do to execute properly, okay? And so we're going to go over in this video here today at the top of it how to not F this up, okay? So it's going to be a very, very important video across the board here today, okay? I want everybody to sit back, listen close to everything I'm going to teach you in this video here today, all the stuff we're going to go into, and take mental notes of this, okay? You could take actual notes if you want, but take mental notes of everything we go through in this video here today, okay? I appreciate everybody joining me. All I ask from you guys, there's one thing and one thing only I've been prepping this video for hours and hours and hours, getting this ready for you guys. All I ask in return is that you hit that like button. That's all I need you to do. Please do that for me. Additionally, if you want to subscribe here to the channel, you can certainly subscribe. We're well over 800,000 subscribers strong here on the channel. So I appreciate every single person for being here. Very important where I'm about to start in this video. Check this out here, okay? What I'm showing you right there, that's my public account. That's the stock market portfolio I built in my private stock group over the past probably 6 to 7 years, okay? And we built it from nothing. Now it's over $3 million. Today, the portfolio went up 1%, and the portfolio gained $31,000 in value off of a little teeny 1% move. $31,000 of value here today. Now, to put that into context, okay, you don't want to F this up. I was working, if we go back 15 years ago, I was working at Walgreens in the photo department. And I worked there for $8.25. That was a come up for me because Einstein Bagels, where I worked previously, cleaning dishes in the back and taking orders, they were paying me $7.50. So Walgreens comes along, $8.25, let's go, baby. I would have to work 3,800 plus hours to make the same amount of money that the public account did today off of a 1% move. We're not counting all my other portfolios, just off the public account alone. I would need to work at Walgreens 3,800 plus hours. Isn't that incredible to think about? And I did that just here today in the public account, right? When I worked at Quick Trip, which I started there as an overnight assistant manager, and then I worked my way up the ranks, right? I was making around $50,000 a year after I got promoted. Now, keep in mind, you got to take out $10,000 roughly for taxes between federal taxes and state taxes, right? So about $40,000 a year was my real income, right? I made way more today across my portfolios in a day, right, than I would make an entire year working at Quick Trip. And remember, I started as an overnight assistant manager, working in bad areas, like sketchy areas, all by myself in the store, like not the favorite opportunity, right? And then when I did get promoted, I had to wake up at 4 a.m. every day, 4 a.m. And if you know me, I'm a night owl. I hate waking up early. I like to go to bed late, midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I like to sleep till 8 a.m., 10 a.m. Getting up at 4 a.m. every day, not my favorite thing to do. And so I made more today in my portfolios than I would make an entire year at Quick Trip, right? If you look at the portfolio gain in the public account, this is just off the stocks we have right now. This does not account for all the profits I've taken in the years in positions. This does not account for all the dividends received. We're talking about $1.849 million in profits, right? I would have to work 224,188 hours at Walgreens. That would mean I would have to work 9,341 straight days, and every single day I would have to work 24 hours to basically account for the same amount that I've made just in the public account over the last few years, right? That is incredible to think about. Even if you take my good job I had at Quick Trip, right? I would have to work 46 years to make the same amount that I am just up on the current positions in the public account. That is pretty darn shocking to think about. 46 years. And so I look back and I'm very happy this dude right here with the spiky hair, right? I'm very, very thrilled that he decided to invest his first $300. And I didn't make money in my first stock. My first stock, I didn't know what I was doing in the market. This is like 2008, 2009. I bought some biopharmaceutical, freak stock, okay? And I think I lost like $40 on it in the end. And so, I didn't just come out and I was just like shining. I knew everything. No, I had to learn so much over the years, right? But I'm so thankful that man was like, you know what? I think this investing game, this compounding game, investing in stocks, I think this is probably an intelligent decision, right? And then this guy right here, when I took it up to starting to invest $1,000 to $2,000 a month when I got my first good job at Quick Trip, right? I thank him. Thank you very much for taking that serious, because I can tell you if this guy didn't make that decision and this guy didn't make that decision, none of this would be possible. None of this would be possible. We had to make some hard decisions. And, some people aren't willing to make these decisions. They say, oh, I got an extra $1,000 a month, extra $2,000 a month, extra $300 a month, whatever it is. They say, oh, I'll go buy something with that, right? I had a longer view. I said, this is a long-term game. And if I set my life up correctly, my 30s, my 40s, beyond, I could be set up in a really great financial situation if I take investing serious early. The earlier you get started is massive, folks, okay? The moral of the story that I want everybody to understand is take investing serious now. Not 3 months from now, not 3 years from now, not 10 years from now. Your whole life's going to pass you by and you're going to keep putting it off. And I've spoke to many people in the past like, I'm eventually going to start taking this serious. I just need to do this. I just need to do that. There's always an excuse, right? I know a lot of people that every year they're like want to buy a house, but they put it off. They're like, oh, I'm going to wait for the housing market to crash. Oh, I'm going to wait for this. Oh, I'm going to wait for that, right? Take investing serious now. I don't care if it's $75 investment, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, right? Whatever amount of money is, that can change your life and getting you down a path to building portfolios that end up going to become absolute beasts 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. That then you'll be able to look back and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I accomplished more in this life on the financial front than I ever thought possible because you started taking investing serious, right? As they say, there's a famous saying, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday. You know when the next best time is? Now, okay? So guys, take investing serious. Learn everything you got to learn about income statements, balance sheets, cash flows, how to understand a company's strengths, weaknesses, the opportunities, the threats of companies, right? Understand all this stuff on a high level, how to properly value stocks, dividend stocks, how to properly value growth stocks. So you understand if you're getting ripped off on a stock, you're getting a great deal. I teach you guys all of this inside my private stock group, all of it. All those course curriculums will teach you everything you need to know. So if it's serious time for you and you're not going to keep putting this off, pin comment down there today. Fill out a form. We'll see if we get you access to all that. It is massive, guys. Take this investing game serious. I've been able to have so many people go through my private group over the past few years, get their knowledge up to much higher levels, scale to 6 figures, multi-6 figures, 7 figures, multi-7 figures, 8 figures, right? Unbelievable. Or you can just keep putting it off year after year after year after year, and I'm not going to take it serious. So I'm just going to play around with this. I'm just going to gamble my money in the market. You can do that, but you're never going to be able to achieve your dreams. Whether it's having great health care, whether it's having a really nice home that you really want, in a really nice area that you want, whether it's having the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis and all the cars you ever dreamed of, right? Whether it's being able to have financial freedom, whether it's being able to go travel the world, you're never going to be able to do that if you're just gambling in the market and just you don't know what you're doing, okay? Take this stuff serious. I can help you out. It's up to you, right? It's up to you. You can learn all this stuff. You got to learn it though, right? Some people, I'm sure wouldn't be surprised if some people join my private group and they don't take advantage of all those courses. Like, come on, man. Like, I teach you all this. This is all this, man. You got to take this up. Even free videos I have like this, so valuable. I did this video last year, 16 years of stock market advice in 52 minutes. That was a banger of a video. People love that. Looks like 104,000 people have gotten to watch that so far. People love that video. Overwhelming amount of people love that video. So, guys, now's the time. Don't keep putting it off for another year, taking investing serious. It's now or it's never. Alrighty, guys, let's get into these three stocks here. That part was very important. That part I just ran you through there, that's arguably more important than these three great investment opportunities I'm about to go through, okay? Very important you understand that. Alrighty, first stock of these three is AMD. Advanced Micro Devices is set up for decades of growth ahead. Not a year, not 2 years, not like a little short term. No. They're setting this company up for decades of growth ahead. Now, when it comes to AMD, semiconductor company, right? Lisa Su leads this company. She basically had this company increase their stock price by about 40-fold since shortly after she became CEO. Incredible. When Lisa Su first got to this company in its first year, I can tell you what, AMD was not respected. They were the joke of the industry. No one took them serious. It was not a good situation at AMD. A lot of people were talking about this company is going to go bankrupt. Shortly after Lisa Su took over the company, the stock price was trading under $2 a share. They were so far in the gulag, people thought they were going to zero. It was a no jokers, holy smokers situation. It was dire. And Lisa Su and the team at AMD have now built this into one of the most respected companies in the entire world, not just in the semiconductor industry. They're one of the most respected companies in the entire world, point blank, period. And she and the team accomplished that in 10 years. Now, if they could take a company that was thought to be probably going to bankruptcy, in the gulag, under $2 a share, right? And if you don't know, in the gulag, I call it stocks that are under $5, right? If they could do that from taking this company from a bankruptcy candidate to one of the most respected companies in the entire world in 10 years, what can Lisa Su and the team pull off over the next 10 years? If they just pulled that miracle off over the last 10 years, I ask you that. And I think it's very important, right? And Lisa Su, I don't think she's leaving AMD anytime soon. She seems very committed to what they're doing, what they're up to here, and moving very, very fast at this company. They just did a good interview a few months ago with Bloomberg. She seems very committed to the position, right? Now, when it comes to AMD, you're going to understand the AI market, right? And you're hearing all this about Nvidia selling all these AI chips. That's what you hear about constantly. If you pay anything attention to the semiconductor industry, oh my gosh, Nvidia's just selling so many AI chips. They're making so much money. It's true. But you got to understand the chips that Nvidia is really selling right now, these are great for training. Now, there's a difference between training and inference, okay? Training is a process of building an AI model, which makes sense, right? All these big tech companies are all building these AI models, right? That are very complicated, very complex. It's all like a building process right now. And NVIDIA's chips are what is seen as the best of the best when it comes to training of these models. While inference is a process of using the model to make predictions. Training is a one-time process, while inference is an ongoing process. Now, the important thing to understand about this is Lisa Su and AMD, they believe that inference, according to Lisa Su, she believes inference, and by the way, Lisa Su doesn't just throw out things to throw out things and just say this and say that. If she says something, she means it. She believes that inference is going to be a far bigger market long term than training. Now, why is that key? Because Lisa Su also believes that AMD is the most well positioned for success in inference. And so if you're thinking about what is the biggest opportunity from, let's say, 2026 to 2036, right? Based upon what Lisa Su believes, and once again, I wouldn't really go against her, it looks like the biggest opportunity is inference, and AMD is the most well-positioned for that. So what do you think is going to happen to AMD's revenues and profits over the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? And remember, this is just one market AMD's in, right? They're in a lot of different markets. But this market matters significantly. This is the big dog market. And so when you're thinking about where AMD's revenues might be 5 years out, 10 years out, it's going to be a night and day difference versus where the company's revenues were in 2023, 2024, okay? It's going to be like, wow, they were way down there back then. It's a night and day difference, okay? So this part is very important you understand what's going on there. Now, additionally, back in August, AMD announced they're going to do this acquisition of ZT Systems. to expand data center AI systems capabilities with the acquisition of hyperscale solutions provider ZT Systems. Now, this is really setting AMD up for 2026 and beyond. This is a big buy for AMD, by the way, about a $4.9 billion buyer. But this is setting up AMD for 2026 and beyond. This puts AMD much more into competition with Nvidia over the coming years, right? You have to have these solutions if you're really going to seriously compete with Nvidia. And the other thing you have to have is you have to have software capabilities if you really want to compete with Nvidia over this next 10 years. And guess what other acquisition they did? Well, this was back on August 12th. AMD completes acquisition of Silo AI to accelerate development and deployment of AI models on AMD hardware. AMD today announced the completion of its acquisition of Silo AI, the largest private AI lab in Europe. The all-cash transaction valued at approximately $665 million furthers the company's commitment to deliver end-to-end AI solutions based on open standards and in strong partnership with global AI ecosystem. Very, very key. This is all setting up AMD for the next 10, 15 years, okay? So Lisa Su's putting all the chess pieces together. There's no doubt Jensen and Nvidia beat AI to the punch, or beat AMD to the punch here, but that doesn't mean this is one battle in a long war. And just because you get up in one battle does not mean you win the war in the end, right? Now also remember, there's plenty to go around for all types of different companies here. Nvidia can win, AMD can win, ARM can win, Broadcom can win. There could be a lot of companies to win, because here's what Lisa Su and AMD said in late 2023, and I wouldn't be surprised if their expectations are even higher now, okay? AMD boldly declared that the total addressable market, the TAM, for data center AI chips will reach $400 billion by 2027, representing compound annual growth CAGR of more than 70%. So we're talking about there's plenty to go around here. This is not like some little finite market that only one company can win and no one else wins, okay? Now, additionally, there might be a fear of like the Mag 7. These companies spend so much with Nvidia chips specifically, right? And so Microsoft, Meta, Google, Amazon, Tesla, these sorts of companies, and obviously way more companies than just those, they spend a fortune, an absolute fortune on AI chips, right? But keep this in mind, okay? Everybody needs to keep this in mind. Even if these companies slow the growth of CapEx, who's going to get hit the most by that? Is it going to be AMD? No. The one that would be most negatively affected is Nvidia, because Nvidia is the one that's already doing unbelievably massive numbers, right? These companies are already spending tens of billions of dollars a quarter on Nvidia chips. So if there's a slowdown in CapEx, AMD, because they're so small in that market relative to Nvidia is the one that feels it much more. Like AMD could still grow at a rapid clip for the next at least 5-10 years in this market, even with a slowing of CapEx. That's important to understand, right? The law of large numbers start to catch up with you a bit here if you're Nvidia over the next few years, right? No, this is AMD looking at 1000xstocks.com. This is what's projected based upon analyst expectations for AMD's revenue. I like what I see. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if AMD comes in and beats these numbers. I would not be surprised at all. Additionally, this is where we're at right now when it comes to earnings per share of AMD. This is where we're projected to go here. A long Donkey Kong runway of growth when it comes to earnings per share. The earnings per share you're going to see, have seen in 2024. When we look back at this 5 years out, 10 years out, 15 years out, we're going to chuckle. We're like, geez, AMD, we're only doing that for earnings per share back then? It's going to be a night and day difference. No different if you looked at AMD today versus 5 years ago or certainly 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, they were talking about AMD might be bankrupt. AMD might go under, right? And now you look at AMD and you're like, oh my gosh, this is one of the strongest companies in the world. Incredible. Now, here's my projections for AMD over the next few years, right? Based upon where I have their revenues going, their net income, earnings per share, I believe they'll be able to command somewhere around a 30 to 40 PE given the 20% plus top line growth, 30%-ish net income growth, which puts the stock, keep in mind, I don't care where the stock is in 2025, 2026, because this is more just buying time for me. Like I'm just buying the stock right now. And as a long-term investor, I don't care where the stock is in 2025, 2026. It doesn't make a difference because I'm not looking to get out of the stock. 2027 is when I first start caring about where AMD stock is. 2028 is when I start caring more. right? Because when we start talking about 3 years out, 4 years out, or beyond, that's when I could potentially start to take profits in stocks after they've gone up immensely, right? So in 2027, based upon my projections here, we can call it the stock should be somewhere between $275 and about $366. And today it's, low $100 range, right? 2028, based upon my projections here, and these projections are done through 1000X stocks. This is one of my favorite features on there. This will put the stock somewhere around $350 to about $475 in 2028, which is going to be a compound annual growth rate on the low end of 30%, on the high end of 40%. I like that. I like that a whole lot. And as AMD's, remember, when AMD starts to build out these profits bigger and bigger, the earnings per share, guess what they're probably going to do? They're probably going to do either more big acquisitions to help the company get it to even a better position, to a position for the next major cycles and even, markets we aren't even talking about today, right? But additionally, you could see this company doing massive share buybacks, right? And you could see it do it both. And so AMD sets up very, very well, I must say, right? And one last thing I want to touch on here. I don't know if you guys follow me on my reaction channel. It's called Jeremy Lefebvre Makes Money. But I was bringing up a point here recently on that reaction channel, right? Where I react to videos, articles, it's upgrades, downgrades, things like that. And I said, AMD, people got it really messed up in regards to Nvidia and AMD. They think that AMD has to beat Nvidia. Like there's some sort of false assumption out there that like Nvidia has to go to 0 in order for AMD to win. No, that doesn't have to happen at all. There's plenty to go around here. Nvidia could be its $5 trillion market cap, and AMD could be a $1 trillion market cap, or a $2 trillion market cap. There's plenty to go around. There's plenty for these companies to win. And if you look throughout history, AMD and Nvidia, especially over the last 10 years, when one of them wins, the other one ends up winning. Sometimes one has to play catch up to others. Sometimes Nvidia stock is outperforming AMD. Sometimes it's vice versa. But then, there's a lot to go around here. There's a massive amount. And remember, we're going to be talking about new chip markets 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now, that we're not even discussing today. It's not like these AI data center related chips for training and inference, that's it. No. Of course, there's going to be new chip cycles for new products, new capabilities over this next number of years that we're not even discussing today, that are going to give AMD new massive opportunities, Nvidia new massive opportunities, right? There's going to be new, huge, major tech companies built. So keep this in mind, folks. There's a long runway of growth for the next decades, honestly, decades. These chips are going to need to be needed. And, you got to understand there's a very special workforce at a company like AMD. Alrighty, stock number 2 of these 3 stocks, it's an incredible investment opportunity, is Sofi Technologies. We want to talk about a company with decades of growth ahead. Sofi Technologies is that company. Now, when it comes to Sofi, they're led by this man, Anthony Noto. He's led this company for well over 5 years now at this point in time. Anthony Noto, he used to be a managing director at Goldman Sachs, important position at Goldman Sachs. He was a CFO of the National Football League. He was a CEO of Twitter, and he used to be the head of Twitter Ventures, okay? So a man has a massive amount of extremely valuable experience prior to joining Sofi as a CEO. Incredible resume that this man has. Now, when it comes to Sofi, you got to understand there's 2 main, I would say, businesses that you have to consider for Sofi. First is there's their banking side of the business, which sometimes they'll take the banking risk. Sometimes they'll kind of be like an affiliate, kind of a middleman between, them and somebody that actually takes the loan risk there. But when it comes to Sofi, we're talking personal loans, we're talking banking, get up to $300 with direct deposit, which is genius, by the way, because you can attract so many young people with doing that, and then they end up banking with Sofi for decades to go. How do I know that? The guy you're looking at right in front of you, when I set up my first bank account, it was like 2008. And Chase, JP Morgan Chase, they had some sort of thing where essentially you got $250 free if you set up direct deposit with them. Guess what I did? Set up direct deposit with them. And I still love Chase to this day, right? It's genius, absolutely genius that they do this. Credit scores and insights, mortgage loans, invest through Sofi, student loan refinancing, private student loans, credit cards, right? They're a one-stop shop for everything banking related, digital focused, not branch focused like traditional Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Bank of America, those guys, okay? Now, additionally, they have their tech side of the business, which is Galileo, right? And Galileo works with a ton of innovative companies. Dave, they work with Toast, they work with H&R Block, They obviously, SoFi, right? And when it comes to Galileo side of their business, this is really for entrepreneurs that are trying to build finance-related products, right? Or it can be for even like bigger financial institutions to use Galileo to help kind of with the digital transformation of their business as well, right? Now, banking, they help with that, B2B payments, cryptocurrency, embedded finance, investing, all back-end stuff for finance-related apps, banks, things like that, okay? Now, when it comes to SoFi, looking at 1000xstocks.com here, how beautiful is this chart on a trailing 12-month basis of revenue over time, right? It's gorgeous. This is what's projected to happen. This is what has happened for SoFi. It's absolutely beautiful. Company just has growth on growth on growth, and I don't really see that stopping for decades to go in the future, right? Now, additionally, the flip has happened already with SoFi. What is the flip? The flip is when you go from losing a ton of money, year in and year out, quarter in and quarter out, to start becoming a money maker on the bottom line, right? And so you're not just bringing in revenue for revenue's sake, but you're actually starting to make money on the bottom line. It's happened. It's over. The flip has happened. So now the question for SoFi. There used to be talk around SoFi about when will SoFi get profitable? That's no longer a discussion. Now what we're discussing in regards to SoFi is how profitable is SoFi going to get and how quickly. And I can tell you that's a very, very different discussion than when are they going to make money. Because a lot of people don't want to own a bank, if you want to call SoFi a bank, which they're a lot more in a bank, but they don't want to own a bank that doesn't make money. That's no longer an issue. So SoFi now sets up tremendous for the long term here. Now, this brings me to Netflix, because SoFi reminds me a lot of Netflix, right? When you think about Netflix, which now is a $366 billion company, what did Netflix do that was so incredible, right? Well, Netflix really focused on being digital first. By being digital first, right, they were able to, remember Netflix way back in the day was a mail-in service, right, which undercut even like Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, Redbox, things like that, right? And then they focused to digital from there. And if you think about SoFi, what are they? They're digital first. They're all about the app, the website. Digital first. Go find a SoFi branch somewhere. Good luck, okay? Doesn't exist. That's not what they do. Whereas Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan, all these guys, they got these massive amount of locations, right? These incredible, massive workforces behind those companies. And that reminds you a lot of what Blockbuster Video had, Hollywood Video had, Redbox, right? Redbox had all those boxes that seemed like they're in front of every dang Walgreens and CVS and Walmart out there, right? Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, stores all over the place, and obviously we know those don't exist today, right? And then what Netflix did is they went to more original content over time. Well, with SoFi, they like to play a lot of the middleman, right? Where they don't take the loan risk in the end on many various products. I think longer term, and we're really talking 2030 and beyond, I wouldn't be surprised if SoFi wants to take loan risk as well. And the reason being is you make more money doing it that way, right? So SoFi for this next maybe 5 years is going to be much more focused on trying to be less CapEx, more margin heavy. But I wouldn't be surprised if longer term, to give the company even a bigger moat, if they end up taking more loan risk, I'm talking 5-10 years from now, right? And then we start talking about a SoFi that builds into a multi-$100 billion market cap, not a company that's in the $10 to $20 billion market cap like it is today, okay? We start talking about SoFi becoming a banking giant, a finance giant, not a little guy. Now, additionally, when it comes to SoFi, I think this is one of those stocks, like, I'm already up 132% on the stock. I own 3,700 shares in the public account. I own some shares in other portfolios. But I think this is a stock I'm going to look back on and be like, why didn't I invest more? And that happens sometimes. And I think SoFi is going to end up being one of those stocks in the end that I look back and I'm like, why didn't I invest more in that company? And you know what stock it reminds me a lot of? It reminds me a lot of Palantir. So much. And Palantir is an incredible stock that I'm up 855% on. But SoFi reminds me a lot of Palantir. No, obviously completely different business models and sectors and industries, right? But in terms of shareholder base, like a very core loyal shareholder base at SoFi, same exact thing with Palantir, where people are very tied in with everything the company's up to, what they're doing there, and just being very future looking. Rather than looking in the rearview mirror, they're really focused on the future. So there's a lot of similarities I see in SoFi that reminds me a lot of when I was investing in Palantir, okay? Alrighty, guys, and obviously I'm still invested in Palantir. It's just I'm not actively buying the stock anymore. I'm just a holder of Palantir now. Alrighty, guys, stock number 3 of 3 that has decades of growth ahead and is an incredible investment opportunity is Cheesecake Factory. Yes, this one has decades of growth ahead. Now, when it comes to Cheesecake Factory, there's 2 individuals you got to understand that are very important in this story. One is this gentleman I'm showing you right now, David Overton. He's led the company since 1992, and he was, the founder of basically the company before, okay? And he's done a phenomenal job. I mean, he built one of the most famous restaurant chains in the history of mankind in the Cheesecake Factory. Like, it's incredible. Like, what a success. What a success, right? But there's another key individual in this story that I think is going to end up being so impactful, even though he doesn't technically work for the company. But it's this man right here. Sam Fox is a founder and CEO of Fox Restaurant Concepts, is a 3rd-generation restaurateur, and he has opened many restaurants across the United States. Fox grew up in Tucson, Arizona, where he helped his parents' restaurants. He dropped out of college before his junior year. He opened up his first restaurant at the age of 21. A 10-time James Beard Award semifinalist for Restaurateur of the Year, named one of the 50 most influential people in the restaurant industry by Nation's Restaurant News for 5 years in a row, and he's also a New York Times best-selling cookbook author. Incredible man. And the reason I show you that there is he founded a company named Fox Restaurant Concepts, okay? And basically, news came out summer of 2019, July 31st, 2019, that Cheesecake Factory was going to acquire Fox Restaurant Concepts. Fox Restaurant Concepts owned North Italia. They owned, Flower Child and a lot of other concepts, okay? Now, all these concepts were extremely highly rated, very busy locations, very, good margins with them, and were loved by their consumers. And that deal ended up actually going through and was approved, and it went through on October 2nd, 2019. And then what happened shortly after that, a few months later, the worldwide economy closes down. Boom, Rona hits. And who even cares about a restaurant company or a restaurant stock when the worldwide economy is closed down and restaurants are closed down, right? And so Cheesecake Factory goes through this kind of time period where no one pays attention to it. No one cares about it. And the reason being is people looked at it and they're like the world's closed. Like, do we want to own a restaurant? No, we don't want to own any restaurant stock. And then what happened? We got hit with the highest inflation the restaurant sector has seen in decades and decades and decades. So you have 2022 come along. No one wants to touch anything restaurant stock related, right? Meanwhile, Cheesecake Factory is opening more of these North Italia locations, more of these Flower Child locations, and seeing incredible comps from them. And the more this time ticks on, the more it starts to become obvious that North Italia and Flower Child concepts, 2 restaurant concepts, one in the Italian space and one more in the healthy food space, kind of like a Chipotle Cava type competitor almost, right? It becomes very obvious by now. These 2 concepts are going to go across the entire United States of America and maybe even international long term. But they're going to go to every major city with likely multiple locations in every major city across the United States of America over the next few years. And that has now become obvious, right? And so now these 2 concepts, they're the only company you're going to be able to find out there that has 2 concepts that are so successful that they're going to be able to build hundreds of these locations over the next number of years across North America. It's incredible. Meanwhile, they have their obviously insanely famous ATM machine, which is a Cheesecake Factory. And then the best part is, we're not even done. Even when North Italia and Flower Child, even if, let's say 10 years in the future and they build a North Italia and a Flower Child, everywhere you think they could build one. It's like, there's no more opportunity. They have so many concepts coming behind that, like Blanco, which is a Mexican concept, like Culinary Dropout, that are in testing phase right now. When I say testing phase, I don't mean like, well, they're trying to see if they can make money off this. No, they're testing it in more and more markets across the United States to see if they should take this completely national. Now, when it comes to Cheesecake Factory, they're going to become a big dog. There's no doubt in my mind, right? And when we talk about big dogs in the restaurant space, we're talking about companies that, are tens of billions of dollars of market cap. Cheesecake Factory today is a little over a $2 billion market cap. Cake will become a big dog. Flower Child and North Italia alone will get them to become a big dog. Then you add Cheesecake Factory concept on that, and then likely concepts coming behind those, it's an incredible. And remember, the more money this company starts making, what are they going to be able to do? Massive share buybacks if they want, increase the dividend if they want, build more locations if they want, start new concepts. They've got it, man. The next 10, 20 years, they got it. They are, in my opinion, they're the most exciting restaurant related concept by a mile for the next 10, 20 years. And it's not even close. And I looked at every one of these stocks. I look at Chipotle, I look at Cava, I look at Texas Roadhouse, I look at them all. And there's nothing I found that's remotely even close to as exciting of an opportunity as Cheesecake Factory is over this next number of years. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm buying every share in sight. And I'm even averaging up on shares, which is, pretty rare for me to say, you know what, I'm already up on the stock, I'm already making good money, I'm going to buy more shares. Because that's how much I believe in this one over this next 10 plus years. Decades of growth ahead for Cheesecake Factory, okay? Listen, take action. Take action. Take investing serious. Remember that first 10 minutes of this video, because I can tell you all this isn't possible without taking action and taking investing serious. I started doing that 15 plus years ago, and obviously it's changed my life. And so make sure you take action. Make sure you start taking this stuff serious. Don't just gamble your money out there. Make sure you know what you're doing, okay? My private group can help you get up to a much higher level than where you're at today, so you know what the heck you're doing. You can be confident when you go to make your investment decisions. 1000X can help tremendously with that. My entire research platform we built from the ground up. It's incredible. If you want access to all that, pin comment, fill out a form. We'll see if we can get you access to that in the next few weeks here. Much love and have a great day.